Hello everyone, you're listening to a Cops and Toffees podcast. I'll be your host Flubb, and this is the Flupdate. So we have a good show for you tonight, like we always do. And tonight is a kind of a special one. We're going to be talking about the Kiev Major, and I'm actually doing this a little bit in advance, obviously, as you can tell. It is actually Saturday instead of Sunday night. So I'm going to be going over a little bit of the Kiev Predictions, and I'm actually going to be talking about the Matchmaking Patch that came out a couple days ago to kind of let those of you who have missed it kind of bring you up to speed on what to be expecting while you're in matchmaking. So first off, let's talk about the matchmaking. That's kind of what's most pertinent to the player themselves, and something that you need to know before you jump on Dota again. Party MMR has changed up a little bit. It's still the same. You still have the same number of party MMR, but there's a halfway point between your party MMR and your solo MMR when you're actually queuing as a group and party. So basically, what this means is whenever you're queuing as a party and your solo queue number is much higher, it'll actually take the average of the two, and you're going to go by a certain number that's generally higher, and it's like it still affects on a level of what your MMR truly is, so you still get a plus and minus based on what your true MMR is, but it basically forces you to search at a higher MMR. So now party MMR actually means something. So for those of you who have used it as a throwaway system, I'm sorry, that kind of sucks, and it's something that you kind of have to deal with when you're searching now. But you know, it's good. It's going to lessen the amount of games that you're going to have where you're going to be in a situation where you have your entire party is queued up with a very low number because it's a party MMR, and you're not going to be going up versus like all of these like 5k potential people. Like a lot of times when I was leveling up or I was playing with a team, I would be playing on my party MMR, and we'd be playing like low 4ks, and we'd be playing versus people whose solo MMRs were like 5.5 or 6. So there's not really going to be that huge MMR difference as there once was, and that's really good to have in general. Obviously, for those who have experienced these losses and these potential gains that you've been cheated out on. But it's kind of weird because now I can't really play with my lower level friends as well, because party actually means something to a point, and I love to play ranked matchmaking in general because it's there for you to be serious about the game but take it in a little less serious way because it doesn't mean as much as solo. So I still want to challenge myself and give myself that advantage. And people always say that the unranked match system is still that competitive vibe and it doesn't mean as much, so it's not that big a deal when you lose and you can still try stuff out. But it isn't. It isn't the same because doesn't have those numbers on the line, and some people can be more competitive about it, but some people aren't as competitive. And it's all about the number and pride in it in general. And if you're going to be a very prideful person and you don't want to lose in general, you're going to take the game serious even when it's in that form. But other people aren't. And I'm one of those people who do take it serious all the time, and it kind of brings the seriousness level up a little bit, even though it didn't technically meet anything before by playing the party MMR system. So it's just a little something that's kind of weird, and it wouldn't be a big deal if they didn't do what's next coming up in this patch. If they also put in a linked account to phone numbers. So all the smurfs that you had before, or if you were smurfing, if you weren't smurfing and you were a good lad, congratulations. I actually had a smurf myself just so I could play with people and have fun in a kind of a serious competitive environment. And I mean, it was smurfing, so it really wasn't that far off of my regular MMR. It just like lowered it down a few pegs just so that I could, play with some potential friends once again. But I can't use that account now because I only have one phone. And I can like go around it and buy a burner phone or like put it on a brother's phone, but then he can't play the game. And then that's just silly. You wouldn't want to do that. I want to encourage more people to play this game. So it's kind of weird. I wish they would have done one or the other, and the phone system's really smart because it kind of gets rid of the whole Smurf mentality and allows people to feel like that their games matter more and they're not just getting Smurfed on all the times. Obviously that was a real problem for people in 3K to 4K range, because obviously whenever you make a new account, that's when you're the general range that people were kind of showing up in. There's like a max at 3.8, and then you quickly win your games up, and you know, pros would remake an account and then easily be 5K or 6K by the end of like 2 weeks. So it makes a lot of sense that they were trying to curb the entire thing, because there's so many Reddit posts about it and so much talk about it online about all my games being ruined, and there's so many different things that are going wrong, and I can't play versus people that I feel like are my level. The MMR system is failing me. And really the MMR system is pretty great, and in my experience I never really had the Smurf problem, and if I did, it was pretty much dead even. Whenever I would get a Smurf, it would be on my team. Whenever I would go against a Smurf, it was about 50-50. And honestly, when Smurfs are on your team, they obviously think that they're better than you. They are better than you, but they go to a nth degree, and then they make it so that your opinion doesn't matter at all, and then they generally upset the team, and everyone gets tilted, and it becomes a problem. Some people are good enough to play through it, but most people aren't. Like, pros can do it, and some high-level players can do it, but a lot of times Smurf didn't really mean anything to other people. It's just re-grinding your way back up to a certain point, and it really didn't have the advantages of what people were complaining about. So I'm a little ticked by this, but for the average person, it's probably going to be a little bit better for you. Solo changes. The solo changes got changed up a little bit for the solo matchmaking. You can now be queued, and you can choose to be queued against only solos instead of the possible duos that were there before. Honestly, I have this on mine, and I'm still queued up with duos. So I'm not sure if it's a bug right now, and they're still trying to figure it out. But it's kind of the one thing out of this patch that hasn't generally worked for me. And it could be just me, it could be a weird bug, but it's just not working. Matchmaking, the whole matchmaking system for trying to ban people and doing different types of punishments for people is a little bit reworked in the past couple, in this patch as well. The low prio is now based on a time-based system, so it can be up to like 4 hours to 4 days, or it can be in a game-based, instead of the game-based system that was before. It was like 5 games that you would play, or 10, or whatever. Now, also they're doing a stricter punishment for the intentional feeding. The intentional feeding that goes on from game to game. And they're really cracking down on it, trying to get stricter punishments for these people, but at the same time they're also doing stricter provisions onto making sure that they are legitimately intentionally feeding in a game. So obviously people have also experienced this as well. There's a lot of times when I would play a game and people would just mark everything down and be like, this person's the worst person in the world, they're racist, biggest, awful human being, and they weren't necessarily that, they just played bad. And then there's other times where people will just report someone and they don't write anything down, and they were legitimately being racist, biggest, just an awful human being. So I'm glad that they're cracking down and trying to get into the root of things. That's where we need to stop in Dota. Permabans are now on bots as well, which is a great news for a lot of different regions. For the US, it doesn't matter too much. Obviously, we don't have a lot of bots on hand, or at least I haven't really noticed a lot of bots in my personal gameplay, and I haven't really seen anyone complaining about them. But I'm happy for those countries that do have that. It's great news for you guys. There's permabans on them, so hopefully there'll be a lot less bots in your matches. Regional changes that have happened. South Africa, India, and Dubai no longer have ranked servers, and that's because people were taking advantage of them. They were actually going into those servers, playing on them because the population was very low, so you could play versus certain people, get certain styles of play that you wanted to do, and just really learn who your opponent was, and play kind of in an easier bracket, quote unquote. So makes somewhat sense. I feel like if the MMR system's still working, it wouldn't be that big a deal, because a 5K is still going to be a 5K, I would hope, in any region, and it's just more of a matchup of person to person and trying to beat them. And if you play someone 5 times in a row and they don't really understand how to beat you, that's a problem. Then you're not both 5K, and maybe there's a problem with the matchmaking system. So that actually kind of makes me worried more about it, when I truly think that the matchmaking system is already great to begin with. Really weird that they decided to do that. Anyway, let's get to what we've all been waiting for, the Kiev predictions. The reason why you guys are here. We're going to be talking about the predictions in general. I think I'm actually going to go backwards on this. I'm going to start with the tournament rules that you're going to be going through, the different tournament things, go into players, teams, and then heroes. And the reason why I do this is because that there's a lot of different heroes and understanding that kind of goes into each little development of the game. And it's actually, honestly, it's the moving backwards is a better way to look at this patch. The tournament is going to be generally a really defined idea, but Dota is getting more complex with every iteration, every single patch that comes out, and heroes are being less and less likely to be, this one is an absolute ban, this one's an absolute pick, so on and so forth. So I'll give you guys some options whenever we get to the heroes, but this is kind of my thoughts, and I feel very confident about the tournament end of things. So without delaying anymore, let's get it started. I'm going to go into, first off, the total number of games played in the main event. The total number of games played in the main event should be 35 to 38. And I believe this because people are generally 2-0ing on the lower end of things. There's not very many games that are going to be 2-1. Also, the tournament has some single elimination matchup at the what is it? The group stage? No, it's not group stages. Anyway, there's a matchup at a certain point in the event where there's actually a 1-to-1 game where it's best of ones. And if you're going to have the less amount of games, obviously the lower number is going to be better, but you still want to have that wiggle room for having the potential of teams going for one out of the 3 wins and getting the all 3 games in. So generally that's why I'd go choose the 35 to 38. The total number of heroes picks is actually 91 to 100. It's really safe pick to go into that area because generally you think that almost all of them are going to be picked, but once again the number of matches are going to be a little bit lessened. So if there's more of a risk to pick people generally take it on the safer side and don't pick too crazy and wild out there. So you want to try to keep that in mind, but at the same time this patch is new and innovative on a level of Dota that we have not quite experienced in a while. So the number of picked heroes are going to still be very, very high, and I think 91 to 100 is going to be your safest bet possible for this tournament. It's funny, like I would almost put money, like $200 on that, $400 on this, because like I am so sure on these tournament predictions. Total numbers of bans, 71 to 80 is what I'm going to go with. I think that it's going to be precise on where people are going to be banning out certain heroes. There's certain players that have obviously come into light where like Abed is super good at Meepo. We have Burning being incredible at Lifestealer. There's going to be these heroes that have the potential in certain players' hands that they have to ban them out. And whenever there's those like specific bans on players instead of the actual hero itself, it kind of lends itself to a little bit wider pool. But when it's so nuanced and like you have to ban that hero like you did versus Admiral Bulldog, the bans kind of lessen to a certain point. So it's like a high-end, low-end type thing, and you want to go to like the 71 to 80 mark at that point. So then you go into the most combined total kills in a game, and I think that this is going to be kind of self-explanatory. There's going to be generally the matches are going to be lasting around for like 40 minutes on a natural game, and I feel like the longest game, which I'm going to get to here in a minute, isn't going to be truly that long because the game is designed to last a certain time at this point. The matches, the patches that have been coming out keep lowering the amount of time to a certain window that they want it to appear in. So generally 81 to 90 is going to be your best bet there, and it's just because of the way that people have that team fight and the potential of what you can do. You have on the longest game of the tournament, you have 70 to 79, or well, 79.59. Those are going to be the longest games of the tournament. You're going to generally want a little bit over an hour. That's what I was thinking. I went a little bit on the longer end just in case, because you have the potential of Liquid and OG and all of these guys that have these long game potentials, newbie, and I think that there's going to be some potential of breaking the bank at that point. You kind of want to bet on those longer games at least happening once when there's a high number of the better teams are going to go longer. So 70 is a good bet. I would even suggest, if you're feeling like it's a little too long, 60 to 69. That could be a safe bet too. But nothing more, nothing less. That is guaranteed. Shortest game is 15. I had 15 to 20 minutes, or 15 to 19:59. And the reason why I have that is because it's pretty much been that way for forever. And there's some people talking, and you can listen to other people talking about this idea for predictions, is that the shrines kind of generally make the games last longer. And it's true that the games do last longer, and they give that potential of the wiggle room that you have at high ground, but you're also got to see the potential of what some of these teams can do and how fast that they can break down other teams. So just look at the potential of what they have, and it's not going to slow the game down as much. And it's always been this way. It always kind of hits this 15 to 20 minute mark, because there's always a game where someone smashes another team because one of the teams don't really belong there. To be honest, it's something that always happens. There's a team that just shouldn't be there because they somehow won, got lucky, or they had their preparations were awful or something. So safe bet, go from 15 to 19 to 20. You could go to 20 to 25, I think is the next one. Yeah, 20 to 25. It's not too bad. Either one's good. Most kills by a hero in a game, this is going to be 23 to 25. And this is a safe bet because obviously a lot of times they have this mark where they will generally get over 20. Like, I guarantee you that in any pro game, in any pro tournament, there's going to be someone that gets a hero that is above 20 kills. And I feel like the 23 to 25 mark is generally where it's going to be at. I've played a lot of matches, and I've watched quite a few matches in the past 3 months, and that's kind of the layer of where people are at. In DAC, even in Boston, they had that genetic timing for the most heroes kills in a game. It was like around, I feel like it was around like 23 to 26 is what I want to say. So safe bet. Most deaths in a game are going to be 15 to 7 because the general games aren't going to be lasting too terribly long. And the only thing that I can see going over it is someone like Pili dying over and over and over for the team. So the potential of that happening is not going to be too crazy. So as you guys are looking into the assists for this game, I think that the most assists that are going to happen are generally going to be the 28 to 31 mark, because once again, it's not going to go for too terribly long. It could be a little bit longer. You could go for one step above. I tend to end on the shorter end of things a lot of times whenever it's going for most kills or deaths or assists. So I would generally go to 28 to 31 or a little bit higher. I think this is going to be the general mark because you're going to see at least like one game with a Spectre, and I feel like Spectre's going to do decently well. I don't think she's going to do incredible and get like above 40 or anything, but I think that she's still going to be picked, and Spectre has a lot of potential. Just hitting R just lets her get an assist anywhere on the map, and generally it is an assist because she can't get the kills for like the first 15 to 20 minutes, and then she kind of starts taking off from there, and then she actually does get kills. Okay, and then the highest GPM for the hero kind of makes a lot of sense that you're going to have a 1,000+ mark, and at the plus 1,000 mark is because, I mean, Alchemist. Alchemist is a hero, and he has been nerfed into a pretty hard situation. I don't see him being picked up a lot, but there's still a lot of people that are very good with the hero and have the potential of farming really well. Real quick, I'm going to read something real quick. Sorry, there's someone messaging me. Okay, sorry about that. So we have, okay, and then behind you. Oh, gotcha. Sorry, someone was sending me a message in Twitch chat, and they were asking me about the signature board behind me. So, kind of a quick story, real quick, before I get further in. I just want to explain this. So the board behind me is actually a board that's everyone that's stepped in this room since I've lived here. It's something that my brother started as a tradition, and it's something that I've kind of continued. And basically, it's everyone from that's ever been here. I just have them sign on the wall, and my name's actually over on the side somewhere, but yeah, so that's kind of what that's about. Alright, now about the players. We're gonna go into the players here. We have player number 1 for the highest kills, average, and most kills, Sumael. Sumael generally has a very good running through the game, and he generally just does a lot of kills and has a lot of potential in what he can accomplish in a game. He is very aggressive, does a lot of damage, and he picks a lot of heroes that generally get the last hits anyway. We also have Burning. Burning is on the lowest death average because generally, if you go back like 10 years, Burning is one of those guys who was incredible at farming. He was always known for that, and he was always known for dying the least amount. He would not take a risky situation. That's generally what's going on with how he plays a game. He goes for farm, and he would go for dying the least, and he's kind of walked away a bit from that. He's not the greatest farmer because he can't keep up with the other people in the world now, but he does have the most incredible sense of being able to not go in and be like calm and calculated, because not only is he one of the older players of Dota and he knows what he's doing, but he's also just has that mentality, that almost that Chinese mentality that they bring into the game. The only people that kind of go against that is Wings, and it makes a lot of sense that they did so well before, but it's not going to it's not as continuous as someone like Burning. When he finds his niche in a patch and he finds his thought process, when he finds a team that can follow his thought process, he can generally burst through the scene and come into a well thought out strategy that has certain intentions that go into it. So you want to definitely have him as the lowest death average. Very safe bet. Jerix is the person that I have for the player with the highest assists, and I choose Jerix because it was actually kind of a toss-up between a lot of the 4 players. You generally want to pick a position 4 at this point. There's plenty that could fit this role. I actually kind of I was thinking about maybe even going Bobica, but I think that the highest average that's going to happen is going to be the people who are going to win the game, and I generally think that OG has a really good chance. So I feel like Jerix has a good side to himself on like his movement, his feel for the game, and I just believe in what he has for the potential of this game. But Bobica, I actually chose him for the most assists in a game because he just has his movement on the map is incredible and has real no equal to when he's on his game. When Bobica has a good game, he has a great game, and it's not like he's like a swingy player. He plays well a lot of times, but there's just some plays that I've seen him make that are just incredible and kind of rival his counterparts in other countries for sure. So Bobica and Jerix are kind of the 2 that I would go in between. I would either choose for highest assist average or most assists in a game. I would kind of go back and forth between those 2. Alright, the player with the highest last hit average. You're going to want someone who generally takes the longest amount of time in a game. So you're going to want a team that kind of generally focuses on that idea. So you're probably going to want Newbie or someone from Newbie. And Newbie's SCCC or SCCC or however you want to say it. He generally gets a lot of farm. He plays a lot of farming heroes. He plays Alchemists and Naga, and it's going to be a team that goes into late game. So I think that he's just going to have the most last hit potential. That's kind of his focus for the game in general, and he's one of the safer bets. I also think Ana could be one. Maybe there's kind of some throw up on that. I think throw up on that. Jeez. I meant to say like there's some throw up in the air on that. There's plenty of different people that you can do. You can have I wouldn't put No Tail. Ana's kind of like the farmer in their group. You could get like the potential of you doing like Miracle or Matumba Man. It could be possible because they go into a later game, but you're going to want to focus on the teams that are going for the long haul. I think SCC is probably one of your safest bets. Most player with the most last hits. I actually chose Ana because he, on his Alchemist in particular, and I think it's going to get through at least once. He's going to have a bunch of gold and he's going to have a bunch of last hits. And I don't think his average is going to be high, but I think it's going to happen once. So I put him as the highest last hits, and then the most GPM in a game I gave to OP. OP is going to have the no, you know what? I changed my mind. Ana is going to be the guy with the most GPM in the game because, like what I said before, he's going to play Alchemist once, and then he's going to be banned out versus him. And then OP is going to be the highest average. He just generally has a lot of farm. He plays Tinker a lot in their lineups, and kind of gives them his team a potential of. He gets a lot of farm and lets Burning get the advantage of being able to use his potential to push down a tower. And at the same time, I mean, he's still Tinker, and he can just march to the machine a wave. So I think OP is going to have the highest average GPM. And the player with the most different heroes is going to be Jerax. I feel it coming. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like Jerax, obviously, he's very, very good, and he's a part of OG, who OG's, you know, they've been a part of the winning side of majors for a while now. Obviously, Crit was a part of the team at one point, and there's that whole thing. But I think Jerax is the man that takes these majors very seriously, and he's going to come in with some crazy lineups that he's going to be a part of, and they can kind of like mold their team around with OG, and they can kind of do some crazy picks. So safe bet, go with Jerax. Alright, we're going to go into the team predictions, and you can kind of figure them out as I was talking about before. You're going to want OG as the team to win. I feel it in my bones. I feel like OG is going to win. You can go OG, Invictus, EG possibly. I want to for the EG fan in me, but really it's going to be OG, IG, possibly Newbie. I think OG or IG are like where it's at, hands down. So definitely go with OG for team to win, in my opinion. Mouse Sports, actually, for team with the most kills in the game. I think that they're going to shine and do something really crazy, and this might be just more of a fan thing than a logic thing, but Mouse Sports. Mouse Sports for the most team kills in a game. I feel something's coming. Something's bubbling up about that team. I feel like they're going to bring their A game and play one game where they just destroy and just go crazy and have like the classic Spartan energy that they bring to the game with the Greek comrades. The most kills in the game, the team with the highest kill average is going to be IG. They generally have the most kills. The last time in DAC they had a lot of kills, and they were the ones who were kind of topping those charts, really punishing people and using their patent strategy of, okay, we're going to pick a BKB infused hero, or well, not BKB infused, but you know, basically Jug or Lifestealer, the guys that have the built-in BKBs into their kit, and we're just gonna have him hit a tower, and we're gonna like kind of go around him, and whenever they jump burning, he's gonna get out of it, and we're gonna collapse on top of everyone, or collapse on the back line, or do something that they're not expecting. So it was a tried and true practice, and I feel like it's still hard to break, and if they keep that up, their kill average is going to be just as insane as it was before. Plus their pick-off potential was very good as a team as well. The team with the fewest deaths is probably going to be OG. They're going to just destroy one game. They're going to, when they do win, and they win in a very forceful manner, and they have the lead and they just take the game themselves, they aren't gonna die. They just don't die. They pick a lot of safe heroes. Like, you got Puck is one of the best players for S4, one of the best heroes for S4. His Enigma like never dies, even though Enigma's kind of easy to die on, and I just they never really die. They're cool and calculated, but they also kind of have like some risky moves. It's a weird situation where they play risky when they have to, but versus a team that can't really take advantage of it, they just run it all over them. And I feel like there's going to be a team that they face up where they for lack of better terms, they're just going to crap all over them. The team with the most assists is kind of like the team with the most kills. It's going to be the people who are the team fight heavy oriented teams. So Invictus Gaming is someone I just have to go with. Going into the team with the longest game, I actually think Team Liquid is going to have the longest game possible. They have a really good team at taking it late, and yes, they can end games pretty quickly, but I feel like there's going to be a situation where like they're facing versus IG, and it's just going to be the longest game ever, and they're going to pull one game off of them. I don't think that they're going to win the tournament. I think that they're going to do okay, though. I think that they're going to match up against certain people, and they're going to just have these epically long games. Though there's going to be, they aren't newbie, so they're not going to have all long games, and they will beat people handedly in some cases. Invictus Gaming's team will have the shortest game. Just they're gonna group up, they're gonna do their potential, and they're gonna destroy and win their lanes quickly. It's kind of perfect for what the game is decided to do, and the way that they play their game is it's down to a science now. So really, I see Invictus Gaming, and really the only people that I feel like are gonna break them are possibly the Western side with OG, EG. Yeah, OG and EG are really the only two that I can see really giving them any problems. Maybe someone screwing them up like DC randomly, or maybe not DC, but the Thunderbirds do maybe stand a chance. I feel like when IG face up against their Chinese brethren, they know how to beat them every time. It's incredible to watch, but it's almost decided before the game begins. Newbie is going to be the highest team game length average. The team's highest game length average for sure. They always have these long games, and they know how to do it. And they're not going to take bad team fights. They're not going to take risky plays, and that generally is they play that turtle game. So Newbie for sure, 100% Newbie. Could be Team Liquid. I think Newbie's going to be the one though for sure. Team that will pick the most different heroes. I think Evil Geniuses. I know it's kind of weird, but after watching the latest news that came out from their episode, they didn't have Sumael there the whole time, and Zai was talking about how he was playing a bunch of different heroes, and it's because Monkey King's got nerfed pretty hard, and I don't think that they're going to be necessarily picking Monkey King unless they need to. So he still has Monkey King in his pocket, and he's a really good Monkey King. But he's going to be learning a lot of other heroes, and Zai's already a master of a lot of different heroes anyway. So they have Zai. They're probably going to be switching it up with other people too. Arteezy has quite a few under his belt. Sumail has a few. I think he does better when he sticks to a particular set of heroes, but he also has the potential of playing a lot of things that he's not comfortable with. I think that he does that all the time. So EG, I think, is generally going to be your best bet for that. There could be a couple other ones. For some reason, my heart tells me a little bit about voting for maybe Faceless, but looking at it statistically and what I got from that episode, it was Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses are just going to be the ones who pick the most different heroes. And the team with the fewest heroes is definitely going to be Invictus Gaming. They have a strat, they have it in mind, they have a certain idea in mind, they're going to run it. They're going to keep running it, and they're going to pick out certain heroes and certain combinations, but they have it down to a scientific calculation on what's going to happen. They're not changing it. This is what's worked for them for the past few games. It's worked for them in DAC. They're going to keep on that path. So with all of these different things, all of these different ideas that I kind of slowly brought onto you, you guys may be able to figure out the heroes that I'm thinking about for the hero selections. So for the hero predictions, I'm thinking Slardar. Slardar is going to be the most picked hero. He's super popular. He's incredible 4. And the reason why he's such an incredible 4 is that, I mean, obviously everyone knows his potential of roaming, his stun potential, and his potential versus the BKB carriers. People are picking it up and keeping it in the pool. They don't want to ban it because they want to have the potential of having something good versus the Slardar, or not versus Slardar, versus the Lifestealer or a well, Jug, it's not really the best versus, but versus Lifestealer and some other heroes that it's just crucial to have a Slardar in the wings against them. Centaur is a possibility as well, and it's not like you want to ban, you don't want to ban Ursa, or you don't want to ban Lifestealer, because it opens up a lot of other things within the patch, especially like Centaur. One of the reasons why Centaur is kind of falling off the map is because of Ursa and Lifestealer just never get banned. And if you do ban them, then the other team's going to generally pick up the Centaur, and you're going to have a problem on your hands. So Slardar is just a generally good pick. I feel like he's going to be picked up quite a bit in the tournament. A lot of the 4s that I've been talking about are very, very confident on Slardar as well. So Slaughter's a safe bet. You could go Rubik. Rubik's probably the other one I would pick. Those are the 2 that are incredibly popular. I see all the time, and there could be a surprise of going into someone like Dazzle. I don't want to lead you down the wrong path. It's kind of a niche situation, and it could resurgence at this point, but it's going to be more of probably Slardar and Rubik, just where they're at right now. They didn't receive too many nerfs. They're the potential of what this draft is for support. CM's also a really good option as well. She's just really great, and she helps out the hero that, she helps out one of the heroes that's super crazy right now, which is Magnus. And the reason why I didn't pick CM is because my banned hero is actually going to be Magnus. I think that with CM Magnus, there's a potential that the nerf on making your cleave cost more mana doesn't really matter that much. So Magnus is just a really strong hero. His potential's very good, and I mean, he's strong off lane, he's strong mid. There's a lot of people that play him. He's very good. He's too good right now, and he's going to be the most banned hero. Now, this may surprise you, but I think the highest win rate is going to be Visage. All the games that I've played in my pubs, Visage is incredibly strong and has a really good potential in the right hands. I also think that when you get to the Kiev Major, no one's going to pick Visage unless they know how to play Visage. And his potential right now in the right hands is incredible. So I can't even pick another hero. I would tell you no other hero is probably better at this point. Visage is incredible. His amount of damage potential that he can do, all the different things that he has locked up for him. He's super tanky as a support. I've seen him played as core many a times in my pubs, and I think that that could be a surprise pick for certain teams. I think that people may have been working on him as a core, or maybe do something like as like a duo off lane. There could be a lot of potential for it. So I think the higher win rates are going to go up for him. Templar Assassin, I feel like, is going to be the hero with the highest kill average. She's definitely going to be played a minimum of 5 games, and she's just going to, she just blows up people. She always gets the last hit because she has so much attack damage, and she can do solo picks, and if she's in a team fight, she's going to be getting the last hit in general. So pretty safe bet there. Highest average assist rate, though. Surprise, surprise. Probably no one's surprised about this. Spectre. I think Spectre is definitely going to be your best bet. She hits R. She gives all the different assists out there. She generally doesn't get the last hit on them. Like I was saying before, her potential is just too strong if she hits R for the amount of assists that you can get. And the other global heroes are just too crappy of a spot right now, where Spectre is in an okay spot at least. Now this is kind of a risky one, but I'm going for Medusa on lowest death. Lowest death average is definitely going to be someone who's going to be hard to kill, obviously, and it's going to be someone with like some type of escape mechanism. I actually thought, well, okay, there's you got Morphling, you got the potential of like going into something like maybe a Brewmaster as like the last pick, but Brewmaster I don't think is going to be winning he's not going to have low deaths if he's picked last unless he's picked last a bunch, because it's a minimum of 5 games. So it's not. I don't think it's going to be Brewmaster. I don't think it's going to be Morphling. He has the potential of being picked up by certain teams. I just don't see. I don't see as much as what Medusa has to offer and the people who play Medusa. I think Sumail is going to do really well this tournament, and I know that he plays Medusa very competently, and there's some other people on other teams that play her pretty well, and honestly I feel like she may be the hidden pick right now. I feel like she's very strong versus Lifestealer. She has potential versus Jug. Jug generally builds Diffusal, but you don't want to build Diffusal on Lifestealer, and I feel like people are going to be picking it up versus the IG team. So I think she has potential, and she's going to have the lowest deaths because of it, because it's going to be a last pick, and it's going to be picked up more often. So her games are probably going to be on the low end, though. I think it's probably going to be around 8. So if it's a risky pick, then I would go Morphling at that point. Alright, so then you go into the hero with the last hit advantage. The most last hits on average is going to be Naga Siren. Like, it always is Naga Siren. I don't know really a better hero than Naga Siren, because obviously she gets all of the illusions out whenever she gets her Radiance, is able to farm multiple different creep camps, and she has the splash. Like, yes, you can do the same split push idea with a Alchemist, and you can get there a little bit faster, you get to your Radiance a little bit quicker, and have the potential of getting a lot of last hits. But the way that you can spread out on certain players, the way they spread and get the kills, and they can use the splash to get it, so there's not a lot of denying happening, and sometimes there's a lot of denies versus an Alchemist, or you can deny versus an Alchemist much easier than you can versus a Naga Siren. It's more a guaranteed farming potential. You can't really like gank her as easy as you can an Alchemist versus setup. And Naga Siren is something you pick later, and yeah, you can pick an Alchemist later, but a lot of the heroes right now are really strong versus Alchemist. Slardar, Lifestealer, these really good potential heroes. So don't hedge your bets on Alchemist. I just think it's good on certain people. Hero with the highest highest XPM or experience. Jeez. The hero with the highest experience average is definitely going to be Meepo. Someone's going to let it slip through. Not Onyx. DC is going to pick it up once on Abed, and then they're going to go, okay, well, that was a mistake. We'll learn from there, and we won't let them have Meepo again. But he's going to get the hero once. He's going to kick butt with it, and he's going to get so much experience, and he's going to have the highest average, because he's going to be picked up with that. And then, oh man, Weehaw is probably going to pick it up once. You know, there's that potential there. I feel like maybe No Tail is going to come back with it. I mean, he used to play it. I feel like he's coming back into resurgence. There's obvious potential. He's not down and out by any means. There's plenty of Meepo players. So the only thing that's stopping it from being Meepo is the potential of banning out versus the teams that it has to be versus. So the other two picks that I would probably go with is Invoker, actually. I think that there are some really strong Invoker players in the world, and you can get a lot of experience and gold with not only Midas, you can get the potential of being a part of kills by using Sunstrike and all of these different things. So I think that the experience gain for what he can do and what he is able to do is just very, very, very high, and it kind of dwarfs everyone else on the other team when you pick him up too. So his pick rate is going to be, pick and ban rate is going to be half and half, I feel like. And that's why he's not like generally on the more pick side of heroes, and that's why I don't suggest him, because it's hard to have a idea like that working. So yeah. Then we have the hero with the most kills in a game is going to be Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit just has the potential of running through people, doing a lot of damage, and bringing himself into a situation of, you know, a lot of farm potential. Yeah. So that's kind of what I feel about Ember Spirit. Naga Siren. Naga Siren is the hero with the most last hits in a game. Makes sense. If she's going to have the highest average, she's going to have the most last hits in a game as well. It's just, like I said before, she has the ability to Riptide. Pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so sorry for the long episode, folks. I know this was a while and there's plenty of interruptions. Really sorry about that. But it is time to close out, sadly, as all things must end. And I would like to thank Rebel Beats. Geez, not Rebel Beats. Bass Rebels for providing the free music for guys like me. I also would like to point out that if you guys want to help us out, you can subscribe or like any of our videos. You can go to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Toffees_Dota2. You can also go to our YouTube channel, 5 Midas Gaming. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can give to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/Toffees. You can also listen to our audio versions. If you don't want to see my ugly mug, you can go over there and look at the Stitcher, iTunes, or SoundCloud. Find us on all three. If you have any questions for me or Toffees, you can follow Toffees at ToffeesTV, and you can follow me at my Twitter at Flubdota. If you have any questions for me, if you have any things that you want to tell me about the show, that you just want to write to me, say anything about the movement of what of the show you think I can do better, you can have tips for me, or if you want me to cast a game. I've been casting more and more lately. I would love to cast yours. You can send your questions or concerns to crazyflub@gmail.com. Well, that's it for tonight. You have now been updated, and I hope to see you guys on Monday for the Brewmasters draft. But if not, I'll catch you next week. Catch you guys later.